All right, and we are live. And as we sail the ship of fire into the storm together, we will continue to fight back. We will continue to fight back for free speech. And welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And I've got a good friend with me here today, Dark Traveler, and we are talking about some of the craziest stuff. We have been just the conversation behind the scenes was so cool. God damn it! But of course, I'm sure that you know what's going on with. We're going to get into a lot of things, but we're going to talk mostly about Gamergate today and the effects of everything and its ability to sway the entire country into the possibilities of oblivion. How's it going today, Dark Traveler?
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm glad we were able to work out the technical difficulties from earlier in the week.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you made it too. And so we have what's her name? This she's now known as um, she's Cassidy Hutchinson.
Okay.
She is now the Amber Heard 2.0, right? She's basically the believe all women, do all women say, and don't ever question it. Why? Because she says so. And of course, if you haven't heard about it yet, basically this is her claim. Her claim, because she wasn't even in the room, she wasn't near anybody, but apparently she has the details. She's got the deets on the story, and of course, even though after she knew these things happened, what happened? What did she do? She continued to work for Trump. Trump asked her to work for her longer, and she stayed on with him. She kept working for him after she knew of this event, and somehow was able to be persuaded, coaxed, or what have you, been able to be brought into this hearing, and basically tell everyone what's what. And here, this is video footage of what really happened. And so the gist of this story is the simple fact that while we were, being accused of having an insurrection or whatever the hell you want to call it, now it's an insurrection, now it's the erection, but while the insurrection was, being, portrayed or whatever was happening there, Trump was having his own insurrection in the limo as they were trying to, or in the SUV that she had claimed that he had grabbed the steering wheel and said, "I'm the fucking president. Let me go back down to the Capitol." The point was that I see the most interesting part about this story is the simple fact that if he had been down there, if Trump had made it down to the Capitol in the first place on January 6th, that quite possibly none of this crap would have even happened. And his own Secret Service, apparently, according to this testimony, his own Secret Service did say, we're not going to take it, whatever. We don't know who stopped him or if he was going to actually plan on going down there. The simple point is that he had talked people down, and Twitter, of course, shut him off. So he had basically said everybody go home type of thing, and Twitter shut him off. The point that I wanted to drive home sincerely to me to this day, I really think that if Trump had made it down there, if he was planning on going down there, if Trump had been there with the Patriots, there would have been complete and total calm. There would have been no violence. There would have been calmness. They would have been noisy, maybe, but that's it. They would have been noisy, and there would have been law, and there would have been order. Why? Because our president would have been there. That's my opinion. What do you think, Dark Traveler?
Um,
Do you care?
I have way more extreme views than that. I
Okay.
think it was a setup by him. I think
Okay.
he told people to go to
Okay.
the Capitol. I
Okay.
think he had people like Ali Alexander stop the steal. A bunch of other people. And I think, I mean, I'm not a fan of Trump. I was.
Yeah.
I voted for him the first time. I'm
Sure.
just not anymore. And I stopped being a fan of any of that. Was he directly responsible? No, I don't think so. Not even a little. Were his ankle biters again? Ali Alexander for a perfect example. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think he was responsible for what happened after that. Was there the glow in the dark three-letter agencies that were responsible too, like Ray Epps? Yes, yes, of course they were. Absolutely, of course they were. Um, but yeah, man, I I think Trump's biggest fault
But
was
you definitely agree with us on Ray Epps. You definitely agree with us on Ray Epps.
100%.
Okay, yeah. So
I mean,
okay,
come
that's
on.
yeah,
He was on
absolutely,
live streams the day
absolutely.
before. I think he was on Baked Alaska's stream, which I don't like Baked Alaska either. But I think, yeah, well, I know for a fact he was on the stream the day before going, we got to go to the Capitol. Like, what? Like, it's not even the day.
Right,
It wasn't an outcome. Uh, Mike Pence hadn't done anything yet.
right.
Like, we didn't know what he was going to do. Right?
And sorry.
No. Go.
No. All I was saying, I was just going to add to the Mike Pence thing, and if anyone recalls from this very same testimony, that she said that apparently people saw Trump saw the protesters making the gallows or a guillotine or a gallows for Mike Pence, and Trump's like, good, he deserves it. It's just like this. It's just funny. The point, it is difficult to see who is on whose side these days, and I think it's extremely important for people to be open to scrutiny. And I think that's the most important part about all of this, is that absolutely everyone should be being watched. I mean, the very second you become in power, the very second that you get to be paid by our tax dollars, we're going to watch your ass. And that's
yes.
That's really
remember the good days of America when the elected officials gave a damn about the people? That was kind of wild, right?
And now they can openly, blatantly shoot everything back in our faces and tell us to go to hell, just like every other corporation.
Shit and tell you it's strawberries, right?
Right. tell you to eat their shit and tell you it's strawberries, exactly, and then be over the top about it all the time, just like every corporation does. Speaking of corporations, if you saw this, every single maternity leave costs them something like, I think it was something like, 50 grand or something like that. That's how much it costs a company to pay someone, but it costs $4 grand for an abortion. So of course, of course, which one are they going to go for? They're going to, going to, yeah. So
absolutely. Once upon a time, now we can say that during the Industrial Revolution, like some companies went crazy and had like 8-year-old kids going into machinery that if it rotated once, the kid was dead, right? Some bad things happened. But by and large, most companies, you didn't need unions back then. Why? Because the company gave a damn about their employees. They were invested in their employees.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? That all changed really in the early 1900s. But by the time they were ramping up for the war effort, and especially post that, that's gone. Completely gone, right? Now it's how much money can we make? Me.
And I was just listening to Owen Benjamin, and speaking of money and war, he was saying that he literally thinks that literally that all their money is tied up in Ukraine, like every single, and like all of Congress, all these mother effers that are making money on the side, that is somehow is all tied up in Ukraine, and that's how they're able to launder it through Ukraine, etc. Yeah,
of course, because the I don't watch Owen, but I mean, of course, like having a numbered Swedish bank, a Swiss bank account, that's kind of gone, right?
Right.
Like they watch that way too much.
Right.
And the other part about this is, and again, at any point, if I'm overstepping something that's going to get you banned, tell me to shut up. But like, they're talking about, these girls with the whole Epstein and Maxwell and all this other stuff. If you read his notes, like she was writing him letters about, your Russian letters or your Russian lessons are at 2:00 today. That's because most of them were Eastern European girls. That's where they kidnapped most of them from. In fact, you can read Times of Israel. They've done multiple articles about it.
Wow. And speaking of the Netherlands, which we weren't, but just this is sorry. This is just a really quick side note before we get into the real article and into the real thing. Again, we have to control what we say here. Why? Because YouTube loves lies. They embrace lies and not truth. And that's something.
Because the elites have absolutely no power, right? Like they tell us all the time, "Oh, we don't have power."
Right.
Right.
Let's see what the chat is saying. Let's see. Nards, how's it going? Nard says, no, I've never been alive during any decent elected officials except Trump. Yeah. It just comes down to the simple fact that we have a bunch of assholes and then someone who's actually decent. MGTOW Smurf, how's it going? MGTOW Smurf says, remember the good old days when you trusted the CDC? Exactly. It's actually hilarious. I just was watching like old 90s movies, and there's all these small interjections of like trying to say how authoritative and how important and how knowledgeable the CDC is. I mean, they've been pumping this up for a long time. And probably the most important thing to recognize right now, and that's being reported on, that's not being talked about, is the simple fact that I think it was either 4 or 5 presidents in Africa are now dead right after, and they all died in the last 2 or 3 years. And they all died right after they refused the vaccine in their country.
Sure did.
So, and that's the probably the most important thing to remember. That's, in my personal opinion, one of the most important things to remember in this. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about vaccines tonight. We're gonna talk about Gamergate, and so we're gonna move on to that. But let's see. IRV says John Sullivan, the BLM activist, was behind Ashley Babbitt when the U.S. Capitol. Mike Bird, lieutenant, murdered her. He jumped out of the way just before she was hit. Go ahead.
He's right in all of that. Yes, that all did happen.
And real quick, just, if you guys get a chance, check out the Woo's News documentary. I mean, the Woo's News documentary on January 6th makes the whole thing look like it's
glows in the dark,
like the whole
brighter
thing.
than the sun.
It makes it makes it look like Ashley Babbitt is still alive and that the whole thing was fake. I'm
confident that didn't happen.
Well, yeah. You know what? I would love to watch that. I'm going to show that documentary, and then maybe we can debunk it together or something. So, let's see. Okay, so let's see this. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about what happened with what's happening with Minecraft. But before we do that, let's pull this. I wanted to show you guys this. This is actually incredible. This is something that should be always recognized. If you have not seen the long documentary on Gamergate, I strongly recommend this. This is something that is extremely important and always to be recognized and to be remembered, that it was Polygon. So do you remember do you know the history of Polygon, or do you know a little bit about them?
Yeah, they were a company that reported on games journalism.
But didn't they also create as well, or they were only journalism?
As far as I know, they were just journalists.
Okay,
I could be wrong. I thought they were just journalists.
No, but this is okay. So this video is them. This is members of Polygon. Okay. In the 90s. Are you still there?
Yeah, 100%,
okay,
brother.
No, it's fine. So these are members of Polygon, Vox Polygon. I wonder if does that mean Vox, the actual YouTube channel, the other?
Yeah, Vox was another company.
Right,
they were subsidiary.
Yeah. Okay, so they are connected in that way. So
Polygon was a subsidiary of Vox.
But Polygon, But Polygon, I think what the most important thing to recognize here is that Polygon.
Again, buddy.
Am I muted still? How about now? Am I unmuted? Am I muted still? Can you hear me now?
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
All right.
I take it he's rejoining. He'll be right back. Yeah, I know you hear me. We didn't hear him though.
All right, can you hear me now?
Do
No?
you hear him right now?
Can you guys hear me?
He's talking. I'm gonna shut up. Tell me if you hear him.
Brandon says I can hear you. So maybe, can you hear me?
Interesting. I don't.
Okay, so MGTOW Smurf says he can hear me.
Oh,
you-
I got you back. Oh Lord.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, there it is. When in doubt, refresh. Right.
So,
Hey,
but
we're gonna boomer tech this together.
so well, it's just it's so dumb, so dumb. I wish we were all like actually hanging out at a bar just
Yeah,
talking.
absolutely.
Like that's what I really wish what was going on is that we were all hanging out at a bar playing pool, talking about
Yeah, man.
you know what I mean?
8-ball or 9-ball though?
It's like yeah, 9-ball's pretty quick. Either one. I'm sure we could.
I'm an 8-ball guy.
Those are both great. But the point is, I'd love us all to be hanging out, talking about this shit instead of us going through this digital fucking machine. It's just so dumb when you think about it in that way. So,
Everyone's society and its consequences.
Yeah, but at least we were able to find each other through this digital horrible thing. But absolutely. So what I was saying was, can everybody hear okay still? Can you hear okay still? Okay.
Definitely good now, man.
Okay, good. Okay, so the main thing that I wanted to point out is simply this. If you're not familiar with this Gamergate documentary, it's hard to find. By the way, it's really hard to find because YouTube does not want you to see this. And it does give you the ins and outs of what really happened in Gamergate. And there's a lot of people who, don't get me wrong, they scratch on the surface and they talk about how important it was, blah, 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 all those things. And essentially a lot of people say it was about this, this couple, and the girl of the couple was like, I want to make my own game too, blah, blah, blah. And she basically just turned her boyfriend into, basically just destroyed him along the way. There's this whole other story, but what the real beginning of that was this. And Polygon walks into this room, and this is more than just a video game. This is more of the subversion of society. Because why? Because young white males are the ones who are playing video games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what do we want to do? We want to destroy them. We want to make them less masculine. We want to make them less whatever. We want to make them more addicted to video games, not producing families, not making families, not having real priorities in their lives, just following along this. Which, don't get me wrong, are you kidding me? I absolutely love a good game now and then. I enjoy the hell out of it, and it's absolutely so fun and enlightening to just escape. But the point is that what's really enlightening is building a family, which is where our country comes from families. The reason why our country has been successful is because of families. Anyway, the point here is that we have Polygon coming in, and this is in the 90s. I'm not sure what year it was, but they talk about how Polygon comes in, and they basically are talking about how they're going to sway the entire country through video games. It's crazy what they say here. So let's
I'm a true force politically.
In terms of where Marcos and I came into this whole new phenomenon, and I think we can look at the internet as an opening to many more voices than were present, was within the political arena. Following the 2000 election, both of us got involved in politics, sort of ramping up, but we both there was a vacuum out there in terms of partisan voices on the Democratic side, and voices in general that were authentic and that reflected politics from the point of view of ordinary people instead of from the point of view of either journalists that were covering politics from their particular standpoint for years on end, or from politicians and parties that have become ossified and sort of used to a certain way of the media presenting their elections and campaigns. And so we stepped into that vacuum and quickly found—
Isn't that weird? I mean, imagine if you were if I was in the video game creation industry in the 90s, I would have jumped on that and became a creator or just something. I mean, imagine that this douchebag decides to become part of the political aspect of this whole thing. It's just absolutely disgusting. So because there's so much creativity involved in building a game, right?
Not anymore.
Yeah, right.
I'm a gamer too. Like I fish, I hunt, I do all the door
Right.
stuff that involves touching grass. But I love a good video game too. but like it's been garbage for a long time.
Yeah, but there's definitely some creative. There was some creativity involved.
For sure.
Found that there was a lot of people out all across the nation that were interested in hearing an authentic voice, but not only that, they were interested in participating by commenting not only with us, but with other people in the blogs in this new way of political dialogue. And from there, it's grown to where we were involved with the Howard Dean campaign, and the blogs have grown tenfold since then, to where now Marco's blog, Daily Kos, gets over 500,000 visitors a day. And so we set out to travel all around the country. We went to 20 different states, interviewed 160 people. And what we started out originally with as an idea was that the Democratic Party lacked a brand, but we quickly went much deeper than that. And what we really found out was there were structural problems with how the Democratic Party was operating at the campaign and election level in terms of organizing. And those are the things that we wrote about in the book. And
This is a video game journalist in the 90s, you guys.
Yeah.
Video game journalist.
Did you see the guy? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Did you see the guy that was with Klaus Schwab? I forget his name. This is like a couple of months ago. They were talking about what do we do with the unproductive people, and the answer was give them video games and
Right.
drugs.
Right.
You saw that, right? Yeah, it all ties in. This is what technocrats want to do. Well, there's various stages of technocrats, but yeah.
So forgive me. There was a recent video. Forgive me. I hadn't seen that one. So there's a recent
Yeah,
video
yeah,
of them
you
of
want me
them
to
of
send it
Klaus
to you?
Schwab saying that. Saying that-
So he's an advisor to
Right.
Schwab.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna
Gotcha.
mute myself just for a second.
Yeah,
but
go
I'm
ahead.
going to send it over to you. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
our voices, given the amount that the audience has increased, has allowed us to sort of become gate crashers into the system that is ossified within the Democratic
I
Party,
thought he said something else, but I think he said gate crashers.
and hopefully bring about a change there. So I'll let Marco speak now.
Yeah.
We'll just go back.
Okay, so this is the real bombshell, you guys. This is where forgive me. This is the guy who you really need to hear. What was that, Dark Traveler?
Forth. We're kind of
Yeah. No, thanks
ad
for
hoc.
coming. And I actually wanted to be a programmer when I grew up, but I wasn't good.
So they're talking to programmers. They're talking to people who were just, computer, game designers, programmers, coders, people who write code, all those types of
At
people.
it. So it's always been my shame that I couldn't do what you guys are doing. Because
I'm not smart enough, so I decided to become a political fucking communist bastard.
I like to say that I don't consider myself a leader. What I do consider myself is somebody who's creating the infrastructure and the machinery to
Look, he's got fucking AOC eyes, everybody. Look at that shit.
allow leaders to emerge and allow those leaders to be supported and in a way that was not possible just a few short years ago. And so we as a movement, progressive movement, have been losing a lot of this talent, a lot of the best and brightest in our movement. Conservatives, on the other hand, have been very, very effective at nurturing that talent and pulling it into their system.
So they're reeling people in who are conservative and then changing them.
Rather than
Hey, real
losing,
quick. So I threw it in email and I put it in private chat.
What did you send me?
Follow-up video to what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll go.
Anyway, continue on, man.
No, we'll go to that next. Let's see. Nard said some kind of alien. Exactly. It sounded like he said he said something else. Let's see. Brandon says I can hear both. Okay, yeah, that was back when
Yeah, we did get that.
I'm just glad that I was like, oh no, we were going to get such a good start. It's so frustrating. All right, let's move on. But this is a fascinating documentary. I strongly recommend it. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes, but everybody, it's so worth it if you get a chance to watch. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch some of it, but this is incredible stuff. I mean, they were doing this back in, so this was 2006. Just after the 90s ended, I mean, these guys were ready, full force, to turn our country into a communist country. And this is the beginning of Gamergate. This is what happened with Gamergate. Gamergate, I mean, everybody knows the whole thing was a farce. It's all bullshit. But people on the left legitimately think that Gamergate was like this, some sort of revolution or something that changed the world or something. But it actually poisoned our society.
they're doing is they're actually out there recruiting from corporate America, pulling them into their movement, and they pay them well, and they nurture them and they mentor them. And so what you
So paying someone well, nurturing them, and mentoring them. Does that sound like anyway? Does that sound like a communist? I mean, you get people to do things that you want, even though they might lean right, and that's essentially what they're doing with everybody. Anybody on top thinks they're going to remain on top by continuously pushing us down.
you have is a machine that is extremely up to date, technologically super advanced. Democratic Party has failed to communicate with their supporters and with people who are persuadable in just about 80% of the country, huge swaths of the country. Republicans are in every single district. They're communicating everywhere. And that is a very dramatic change. And what enables them to do that is technology. When there was no way to do that before the internet, before this revolution that you guys are a part of, and we're now kind of riding that wave. That did not exist before. Now they've been able to
Notice the soy. I just can't help it.
adapt to that and move quickly in that regard. Our side is back in the Stone Age, right? And so, for us, it's kind of...
So notice how now where it's reversed, right? They were proactive here. They knew what they were doing. They had a specific agenda, and they were able to pull this shit off, and on a much larger scale than they're starting here. I don't know if anybody's bored of this.
It's frustrating to see that they have embraced their innovators and their entrepreneurs, and we have to actually beat them over the head. And we have to actually beat them over the head with whether it's blogging or whether it's just blog. We have to beat them over the head for them to realize that they need to start changing the way they're doing business and adapt to the changing political and media and technological landscape.
Okay, I know I keep saying this, but they're talking to people who make video games, you guys. They're talking to people who make video games. This was back in 2006. Just it's what a scary sham. Anyway,
So if you don't know,
please.
it wasn't just video games. It was the
Okay.
pen and paper RPGs. So at that point, games like Shadowrun, Dungeons and Dragons, they were going full Globo Homo. Let's see. At the same time, you also had like the miniature games. Like it was all getting bad. Magic the Gathering was already going sideways at
Right.
right? So it wasn't just them, but yes, attacking entertainment was the answer.
Right. Okay, so this is the follow-up that you just sent me. And I'm just gonna put that right here. This is what she said.
Yeah, bro. And
This is
that's from like a couple of months ago. They say the same shit.
Political and economic
Can you hear that? Okay. Let's see.
question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. Keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
Just what a
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
All right. Anyway, just shows you, it just points out how long they're playing the long game on this, and they had us by the balls, and they were able to orchestrate that from the beginning on this. And this was always such a freaky thing, such a scary thing. And I encourage everybody to watch that documentary if you can. It's very important. It's an important part of history, and it's an important part of history that it was able to infest itself. A cancerous part of history that was able to infest itself everywhere else that we didn't want it to be. And essentially that's what happened. So this is an article that came out that you shared, Dark Traveler. If you want to go ahead and talk about the more insightful things about what's happening with Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah.
Please.
So, something I didn't send you. So, first of all, Notch, who was the creator of Minecraft, he came out. And,
He's not currently working for them, right? He's not
no. Microsoft.
So he sold it.
Microsoft bought him for like $5 billion or some crazy number.
Okay.
Right.
It was created originally by someone creative, like someone
Notch. His name is Notch. Well,
Right.
that's his screen name, right?
right.
And he started saying things like, "I'm not into woke culture. I'm not into this. I'm not into that." And if you take a look at the characters that are in Minecraft, there's a physiognomy to them. that will definitely get us banned if I tell you
Well-
what the physiognomy is. But
Okay.
like, take a look at what the creepers and stuff look like, and you'll figure it out. But yeah, he wasn't into this stuff, and he wasn't into woke culture. They got really mad at him. Um, Here, I see you playing the Wild update. Well, anyway, so he wasn't into any of this. Yeah, they did ban him from his own event. Yes, that did actually happen. Um, so the first problem that Microsoft now is the new owners and being as woke as we possibly can be, um, is you can have a private server and you can make your own textures, your own models, your own everything in Minecraft because that's how it was written. And, um, you know, let's just say that there are mods out there that allow you to go back to the 1820s. We'll just kind of leave it there, right? And have a farm, a plantation, even,
Right.
right?
Build a
So-
farm, build a farm, build a house. You can build anything, right?
No, right. But in the 1820s in the South,
Okay.
yeah, right. And like, there's characters in there that would fit 1820s
Right.
pre-antebellum South, right?
So were some people building these types of
There's tons of
environments?
mods like that because that's
Okay.
how Minecraft was written. That you could make mods for it, right? Like, people know there's Skyrim and everything like that you can make mods for. Well, you can really do it really easily for Minecraft. And so now Microsoft, in an effort to crack down on this, has decided we're going to start taking a look at what you're saying in chat, right? Because if you're playing a mod that is in the 1820s South and you have a crop and it needs to, be picked, so to speak. Again, I'm trying to dance around things here. But you might say some terms that were passed around in the 1820s in the South. So now
Right.
they are monitoring chat. So if you were to say a pro gamer word, anything that Microsoft doesn't like, and Microsoft's
Right.
gone 1,000% woke. I hope nobody's running Windows 11, but that's a whole side conversation there. Microsoft wants to spy on you, and they want to make sure that you're not saying anything that doesn't toe the line. Like, that's already happening in Windows 10 unless you shut it off, and it's really happening in Windows 11, and there's no way to shut it off. They're watching you, and they want to make sure that you're a quote-unquote good citizen, lives matter, and
Right.
they're real women, and so on and so forth.
And to toe the lines that they became apprised of these events, these communities that were built.
Private
These private.
servers.
So how
So
are they
it's not-
hacking into
You
private
set
servers?
up, you put the mods in, you do everything yourself. They're now monitoring chat. So let's say we're in a private server. I see a link to it. I'm going to join this private server, and it's the 1820s in the South. And, it's like Django Unchained, if you know what I mean. Like, that's
Right.
what I mean by 1820. So it's that. And I'm going to go get to work, whoosh, and swing my leash or whatever, right? Like, if I type those pro gamer words, like get to work, beep, 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 well, they're going to ban you, not just from that server, which is a private server. Maybe it's just for you and your friends, but they're going to ban you from Minecraft entirely.
How are they able to do that? Are they hacking in a way?
Because now when you report somebody in Minecraft, so somebody else would have to report me, but when it's reported, it
Okay.
doesn't matter because Microsoft is receiving metrics of what's going on in the chat conversations
Okay.
to their main servers. So it's still your private server. You're still running your mods, but whatever's said in chat, Microsoft is hosting. Ergo, Microsoft can see all of it. Ergo, Microsoft can ban your ass.
That's really crazy. And forgive me because I'm definitely not a computer tech guy, but that is something that's pretty mind blowing just because of their abilities to control. That's a level of control. That's the level of control that they've wanted to achieve for the longest time.
100%.
And so, like I was saying just the other night, the simple fact that if Minecraft is something that's very popular, it's something that people are willing to build their own communities in, which is what is the metaverse. The metaverse is the future of what our communities will be, and they continuously want us to replace our own communities, our actual organic, real life communities, with these digital spheres, with these digital playgrounds that will tend to take over and be more important. And of course, how then they can control everything you have. So they'll be able to control your happiness because you're going to be latched. They're going to be latched into these people. They're going to be latched into these types of situations, into these lives, and that's all you're going to care about. And you're not going to care about trying to make a family or any of these other things, which is what are
family gets in the way of production, right? Can't have that.
So it does make me really think about, this is the beginning of that. This is the beginning of the 1984, explosive, control over everything. And because if they're able to do it in such a level this way, what's stopping them from doing it at any other level or any other level that would be just on the metaverse and which is what Facebook will eventually become pretty soon here.
Facebook's been that since day one, I would.
Yeah. I agree. So yeah,
I have no social media. I deleted all that nonsense almost 6 years ago now. I only participate in us interacting, we got introduced through a friend and stuff like that.
Right.
That I'm into talking to people even online. But all this social media stuff is, excuse my language, bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Well,
it's a manufactured reality.
Well, I think that's probably that's one of the biggest things to recognize. It is manufactured, it is fake, and we tend to believe that it's real. A lot of people think that Twitter is real. A lot of people think Twitter is the reality, but
right.
I think that is the thing, is that they were able to sway an entire society into this super information superhighway that everybody has become addicted to now.
All they had to do was ban all the dissent, call them Nazis, fascists, whatever term, they would throw a racist, any term they could throw against the wall until something stuck, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that reminds
me, they're outside. That's not socially acceptable. What's acceptable is what we're telling you. That's what's acceptable. Those are Nazis. How dare they? Those are bad actors. Those are Russian bots, man. Russian bots.
Yeah. So we're trying to warn people here. We're not trying to be a doomer and gloomer, you guys. We're trying to be
not at all. But you want to know something? So for me, right? I kind of went through the doom stage, right?
Sure, right.
Everyone does. Once you realize the battle for what it is, once you realize that what they really have is censorship, you don't really have a whole lot beyond censorship. I mean, yeah, it's censorship, including throwing your ass in solitary confinement, but they don't have anything. They don't have a narrative, because the moment you pull away that wool, you realize it's a wolf, right? It's not a sheep. And that whole house of cards falls apart. That's all they have, and they can't shut us all up.
But too many, and I think too many are so addicted. And this does remind me of just a random TV series I saw a long time ago when a guy was trying to get people to eat more healthy, and he ended up showing people what came inside of a chicken, what was in a chicken nugget, right? And it just say that again.
The pink sludge from McDonald's. Just go watch a video of that once. You've never eaten fast food again, ever.
But the point was that with this guy, it's a great episode, because he basically shows them all this. Check out this organic chicken. It's beautiful. It's delicious. Blah 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 blah. Look what I did with it. I made it seasoning. Blah blah blah. And then he shows it to kids, and he shows them that, and then he makes chicken nuggets. Okay. And he makes them in the kitchen, and he makes them just the way. He makes them just the way McDonald's
tastes different. Bro, My kids, when they were little, I've got two daughters I raise alone. They used to try to tell me that the different shapes of mac and cheese tasted different, right? But that's how I guess kids are very visual, and that's how it relates, right? To
Right.
the developing mind. But yeah, man.
Well, the simple fact is that in this episode, all he does is he basically shows them, look, there's formaldehyde, there's all this, like, there's just nothing but absolute toxic shit in here, and the kids, of course, are like, no, give me, it doesn't matter. So the point I'm
Right.
simply making is that that's what society has become. Society has become the hungry kids that are willing. It doesn't matter what you put inside it, as long as you give it the greasy, crunchy taste of deep fat frying. It doesn't fucking matter, because they're still going to swallow it. They're still going to take it. So I think that's the problem, is that we do have to kind of pull the people away from the chicken nugget aisle, I guess, to so to speak. That's just
So I'll give you like two more pieces about me, right? I haven't had cable or any streaming services in 6 years. Both of my one of my girls was still in elementary school 6 years ago, and the other one was barely in middle school. We have no cable, no streaming services. Every once in a while, we will call for a pizza from a specific place, like not Domino's or any of that other goy slap. Um, I gotta tell you, man, you feel a million times better. And stop going to the grocery store. There's farmer markets by you.
Right.
I promise they exist. Yes, you have to get up very early in the morning. Yes, it sucks for everybody. But let me tell you, after you've eaten that for a while, like, I can go to a restaurant and tell you in 5 seconds, like, if anything came from a can, was previously frozen, any of that. Swear it off, man, and you feel amazing.
Yeah, it does change your life. And I stopped drinking beer for 6 months, and I lost 30 pounds. So it's
Yeah, same idea, man.
I need to do that right now, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm pledging to the chat. I'm pledging to everyone. So this is an article. We'll finish off with this article, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I mean, quite honestly, I just wanted to show people the long game. They've been playing the long game for a long time, and I know that's been illustrated by a lot of people, but it's time for us to play the long game, because that's essentially what it's about. It's about playing the long game. It's about subversion. It's about reaching out and trying to start families and recreate us in the way that we wanted to, which is individual families that are independent from the government, and to stop this madness. Otherwise, we might end up down a rabbit hole of hell. But if you've ever heard of Notch, Notch, you probably don't have kids in your life. Notch is a man but behind the wildly successful, world-beating success in this video game, Minecraft. Let's see. Notch made himself insanely wealthy.
Dared to say it's okay to be white, man. That's a 4chan far right neon Nazi, like just down below there, or from what I see on screen.
No, where does it?
Yeah, his tweets right.
Oh,
below.
right here. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Oh,
okay to be white. That's the
So he
creator. That's the creator of Minecraft. And this is
Oh,
why
wow.
they threw his ass out. How dare you say that? What? You're a 4chan far right neon Nazi? How dare you?
I remember people have been quoting this ever since, right? People have been quoting this ever since, and it's just like,
That the meme did start on 4chan because
Okay.
they wanted to put up these signs that just said it's okay to be white and get
Right.
people to freak the fuck out.
they did.
Yeah. So that's how it started. But Notch, like, I mean, there's no doubt he browses 4chan. And so he tweeted it out, and they freaked the fuck out at him.
It's a damn shame, because it's such a creative. It looks like an incredibly creative game, and I know that if I started it, I'd probably get addicted. And so much creativity involved here with this dude when he first started. Do you know what year was it that he started? Let's see. Let's see. Probably. So it was in the 2000s, or was it all the way back?
18, 19, I don't know. Oh, 17, 2017.
2017 is when it started. Okay.
Tweet from. Yeah.
No. Do you know when he started actually invented Minecraft? When it
Yeah, that
invented?
was like 7, 8. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Sorry, I was gonna say invented. 20, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so let's read on in this article here. it's okay to be white has become something of a meme on the right. It began on 4chan as a way to prove.
Yeah, real
Go ahead.
quick. So the first public version of it was released in 2009.
Okay, so just about 10 years ago, almost 14 years ago. Almost 13 years ago. Okay, so harmless message would trigger social justice warriors. They act like it's something of a checkmate because in their minds, to argue against it would be to say it's not okay to be white. It's this is not true at all for a few reasons. One, the entire notion of whiteness is a social construct designed to oppress people of color and consolidate power. Yeah,
Of course they do.
whiteness as a whiteness.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you went to your most liberal friend on the planet, right? And I'm inversing something here, so hopefully we don't catch a ban. If you went up to him and said, "We must secure an existence for for our people and a future for black children," would anybody bat an eye at you? Right? We must
Right, of
secure
course.
an existence for black people and a future for black children. Would anybody
Right.
say anything about that? But that's the 14 words. If you just replace black with another color, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Why
of
is
course.
that? Why are there these double standards?
Well, it's because I think they were able to infect that. They were able to infect that from a
Absolutely.
and
It's
make
called
it
white guilt.
yeah,
yes.
and they were able to kind of inject that as like kind of a planted seed and everything, and then claim so wonderfully illustrated perfectly by Breitbart saying that they are everything that they say that you are. And every single time that they paint you to be this one way.
So that actually comes from Marx, which again, I don't want you banned, and I'm not going to tell you what his real name was, but it's not Karl Marx.
Okay.
However, he was the one who started that about blaming the opposition for that which you are guilty of. That was hugely popularized, though, by Saul Alinsky. I think that was Rules for the Radicals. It's either 11 or 12. Maybe it's 10. I'm in the ballpark. You know what I mean?
Right. Crazy. Well, it's GQ, all these douchebags. I mean, everything has become, complete woke garbage. And I'm trying to get away from using the term woke because it is someone illustrated perfectly the other day, just talking about how these other terms are actually disguises for what it really is, which is actual communism. We are being taken over by communism. And for anyone who doesn't recognize this, I urge you to read a book and wake up. So, anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thanks for listening.
God bless, Chad. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna have Dark Traveler back up on the channel again. We appreciate all of you. Thanks again, and have a wonderful weekend.